Lake Natron is in the north of Tanzania, just below the Kenya border.
Natron for me was always the place that was next door to Serengeti that we never got a chance to visit.
And in fact, on a lot of maps, you won't even see Natron, even though it is quite a big lake.
The lake, which I hadn't heard of, is a geological phenomenon. This sort of vast puddle of salinity in the middle of Africa, at the end of this string of dormant and active volcanoes.
You drive out there on this long, dusty road, and the closer to the lake you get, the landscape just gets more and more crazy. You're presented with a sort of huge amphitheatre where you've got volcanoes on 3 sides and then the Rift Valley wall on 1.
You've got a wonderful backdrop of mountains. You have the lake itself, which, because of the water's salt content, hardly ripples in the breeze.
It's the most caustic body of water in the world. You look out and it's very hard to see the separation between sky and water, and it's like this wonderful, huge mirror. There's a line in the film which says it holds heaven's reflection, and it really seems to.
At certain seasons, when the lake goes through changes in its water chemistry, the lake waters themselves bloom with these bacteria and become this bright red colour, or greens or blues.
It's a very impressive, natural kind of kaleidoscope.
It is a pretty forbidding place, I find. It's extremely hot. Very few organisms can actually survive in that lake. You've got a volcano which is threatened to blow up all the time. You have, lion and predators roaming around. It felt like you were in the Antarctic with ice floes going past you, but in fact, you're in an extremely hot place and those ice floes are made of salt. And then getting to this pure white island with a pure blue sky and seeing this dividing line in the middle of pure pink of 1 million flamingos nesting in their colonies was quite extraordinary. It took my breath away.
The brine that underlies the salt crusts is thick with highly alkali salt, so if you have any little nick on your legs or your feet or your hands, it burns. I mean, it really stings you.
You tread in one of those pools and your shoe becomes rock hard with salt within a couple of minutes.
It's such a wild, remote landscape. Only the Maasai live there.
The Maasai betray almost no signs of Western influence at all.
There are many different fascinating things about Lake Natron.
There's something about it that's absolutely magical.
You have that intrinsic sense of Africa that somehow you've been transported back to the beginning of things.
That moment when the light just hits the lake and there's a rainstorm and everything turns gold and you know you're experiencing something that only a fraction of other people in the whole world will ever see.
I mean, it's just absolutely phenomenal as a place to be, to fly over, to live in, to film in, and to experience. And we hope that we've delivered at least part of that.